Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of In Lay Terms. I'm your host, Payman Ascari, and our guest today is all the way from Quebec, and I will attempt not to botch his name. It's Mr. Nicolas Guérin. How are you doing, Nicolas?
Doing good, and you?
I'm doing pretty good. You coached me earlier on how to pronounce your name. I think that took like 10 minutes, and I still got it wrong.
It's okay, no worries. It's a French name. You need to have French roots and French learning to actually pronounce it correctly, I think.
Yeah, I'll never be Prime Minister of Canada because I don't speak French. So that's my one weakness. One among many, I guess.
You can still learn.
That's never too late. Nicola, um, why don't you tell us first of all, like what riding are you in, and I don't know, tell us a little about yourself. It's kind of evident that you're in a construction site, so tell us what you do for a living as well.
Yes. So my riding is Châteauguay-les Jardins de Napierville. It's it's on the south shore of Montreal Island. I'm on a construction site, actually in the cafeteria because that was the quiet part. Lighting is not so great, but you can manage to see me on the screen, so I guess it's okay. And I could have dressed better, of course, because it's an interview. But it would have been dirty and broken up, so I prefer not to engage in that area. So so I'm an electrical engineer, and I work in construction management. They give me some responsibility here on site. I do quality management and technical management. So basically, I have a little team under me that does inspection and stuff, and I provide them with all the drawings and the coaching necessary for proper inspection. I try to to keep things as easy as possible.
How long have you been doing that job?
For this particular construction site, about a year, but I've had a prior experience, like right out of my when I finished university in 2011. I did Rio Tinto Alcan AP60, so it's something I don't remember. AP stands for Pitchners. It's a kind of technology. It was a aluminum plant, and actually a pilot aluminum plant. They wanted to produce, the 60 stands for 60 ton per day, and it was a good school for me because I was brand new out of university. You know, like when you get out of university as an engineer, you know about 1/10 of 1% of what is required to do the job. So it was quite challenging. And then I went to another project like Romaine II, which is a power plant up north, and we were basically doing the building electricity for the power plant. So building electricity is lighting, heating, ventilation, and then you pull cable, you install support for all those cables. It was my biggest school was La Romaine II because you know. Yeah, AP60 was like this curve of learning, but Romaine II was like this. I was climbing here. I was like, wow. It was it was complete insanity for me to be there. And but I still did it. 6 months in, I asked to come back to do something else because I was overworked. Too much learning. Then I did like estimating. So basically, I took all this Romaine II. We had like about 4,000 contract modification, and we had to estimate what was the price. Yeah, and when the project was over, they didn't require 7 estimators in the building, so they let me go. I found other jobs as an estimator on Montreal Island. Like I moved quite a bit within the province to do my engineering. So I did generator sets with Hewitt. Now the company doesn't exist anymore. It's been bought by Toromont from Toronto. Then I worked for Schneider. Right about the merger, I worked for Schneider for another couple years. And then I had the opportunity to work as a national defense consultant. That was awesome, but I can't talk about anything about I did there. And that's during that
No
time.
secrets, nothing at all. Yeah. Any CSIS intelligence?
Some things, but things. Then during that time, like the COVID happened, and that employer, because of the mandate, required me to do medical disclaimer. I refused. I said my medical file is private between me and my doctor, so you don't need eyes in there, and they laid me off. I spent 3 months on unpaid leave. Then they kicked me out. But on the day they kicked me out, I started working on this construction site.
So I got a question for you. You're in the engineering field. How have you seen how easy is it to find a job, and how has it changed over the years? Like 9/11, 2008, COVID, has it changed?
It's about always the same length of time required if you want to find a good job, or if there's no openings. Usually, you can look forward for a year and 2 months maybe between jobs if there's no job. But in 3 months I got something, so it was really quick. But it was easy. I just phoned one of my ex-employers and I said, well, do you need someone? Because I know on the construction industry they're always eager for people to manage construction site, because it's yeah, I know. I won't say that.
Fair enough. Nicolas, what about like the cost of living? Has wages, in your opinion, have they kept up with, let's say, inflation? Yes. If not, when did it change?
No. I haven't had any significant raise since like maybe 3% every year, but the inflation is like 10, then was 6, 8, then now, well, the computed inflation, because when you go into the grocery store, you see the bag of chips the same as last year, and it's 40 cents higher, and the last year was $1. Now it's $1.40, so it's 40%.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the items that I buy now but they're just ridiculous. Like it's $7 for a bag of potato chips. It used to be like 30 cents like a couple of decades ago.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the small ones,
Yeah, even that's getting expensive. So let's shift over to you running for public office. Like, what? You've never run before, right?
No, I never ran before. Since my early childhood, I had like not ambitions, but like calling in my heart to say, but every time it came, like about every 3 years, I always refused. Basically, I couldn't compromise um, on doing what I say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
That's, I guess,
and
authenticity and integrity is good.
2021, I was pretty um, disgusted with what the Trudeau government was doing during the pandemic, and I wanted to try to help kick him out. So I looked in my writing, and I was saying to myself, well, I'm going to run this time, and I looked and I saw that there was someone in a conservative as a conservative candidate, and I stopped there basically, and I did some. Uh, I stopped there and I started like looking and really teaching myself politics and stuff, and I found out basically that the PPC existed, and I decided that I would vote for them. That's all. That's still in 2021, um, and became a member in 2022 when Maxime Bernier actually announced that there was a pl- not a platform, but an issue. He wanted to tackle the abortion issue. So, and it seemed pretty reasonable what he wanted to do because the third trimester when you do an abortion, I don't want to go into the details, but they kill the baby inside the womb, and the mother still has to expel it like it's like she has to go into labor. I'm not a doctor, but that's what they do. And basically there's no advantage like for the mother, like she doesn't skip the pain. She still has to go through the labor pains, and there's a human being that doesn't exist. And also in the third trimester, every baby that comes out, you know uh, earlier than the mark, they can go into an incubator, and they can live and become a productive human being. So yeah, it's pretty agreeable to actually do something about it.
That's a fascinating story. I haven't heard any of the candidates mention that the abortion was the reason, but there's nothing wrong with that. But it's the first time I've heard it.
Yeah, well, I took my membership card, and every 3 years I get this poke, and I got it in 2023 about in August, and I said, oh, I can run for candidate. Are they looking for candidates for the PPC? And I filled in the form, I applied. Took about a year, like in July 2024, they actually confirmed me as a candidate for the another riding that is not mine right now. And they found someone else in that riding, and there was an opening on the next riding. So why not? I wanna help. So I jumped on the occasion, and I went for Châteauguay Le Jardin de Pierreville.
So, Nicola, would you say there's anything unique about your writing? Is there anything that makes it special that people might know about?
Well, it's actually the infamous riding where the Roxham Road is. Yeah, lots of media attention on that road. I saw a video of Maxime going in the riding with police in the video, and he was talking about the issue of immigration. And the issue of immigration is actually quite hot in my writing. And the question I get asked most often by immigrants, and I have to to be truthful, we want to deport people, but if you don't do crime and you renew your visa, no problem, you can stay. So
This is not an extreme position. When I was working abroad, I would have 30-day business visas. On the 30th day, I would have to fly out of the country and then, fly right back and get another visa. They called it
yeah.
flagpole.
Well, when I went to as an exchange student in England, they gave me a visa for the school year. I went, I did study, and during like winter break, I went to visit in Europe. Some people I know over there, and I came back in England, and once my studies were finished, and it was pretty clear, they had an interview, they took my fingerprints, they it was pretty serious. They checked if I had the $60,000, like the funds to actually do the study, and I had to write back to Canada once that was over, and that's it. That was the deal. So basically, what we want to do here is make like make the actual Canadian law applied. That's it. Apply it.
I studied in England as well. It was the same thing. I had to go to I can't remember what office, but they fingerprinted you. They did an interview, and on my passport they put a visa, and it specifically said cannot work in England. Like I was not allowed to work.
Yeah, yeah. I could not work either. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all we're asking for here in Canada. It's not to go beat up these people or just throw them out because they have a different skin color. It's like there's a law. Please observe the law.
Yeah, yeah. And when I was in school, like in the university, there was lots of people coming to study, and they were allowed like up to 20 hours of work, and I'm pretty sure they were respecting it because we were actually enforcing it in Canada, but now it's not the case. I don't know. Maybe the visa changed too. But I'm not superbly versed in that area, but I know some things.
I mean, I again, I'm also not an expert on immigration law. Some of the things I've heard is you can come here on a tourist visa, and then once you're in the country, you can request to upgrade it to a working visa. You couldn't do that in England. You can't go from student visa to working visa.
Well, usually you have to do it prior to coming here. If we want to tackle the immigration issue, and I work quite a bit with immigrants right here, on my construction site, and they get work visas. They have to apply. There's a process to do it, and they did it with their employer because like we are in a consortium. I don't know in English the word for it, but it's two or three companies together that decides to make a project happen. So there's Arnaud, my employer, and there's TCE, which is owned by Vinci. Vinci it's a multinational, so they have like French people that have expertise, and they apply for their visa. They come over here, and they have to renew their visa every depending, because Karim has a visa for like 6 months, and yet he has to renew every 6 months, and others they have one year. So it depends. But
No,
they do the roundabout. I know they stopped doing that. They opened the office, which is, I mean, it's a good idea, to have an office to go where you can renew. Why not? I don't see the problem. Um, it prevents people going out and stuff. It's okay, but if you're not renewed, then you have to go back go back to your country.
what do you think the impacts are of? I want to get your opinion. like how immigration, if it's too high, how it can have effects on obviously healthcare, education, but also the labor force.
Well, there's pressure, like there's demand on food. There's the because everybody eats. It doesn't matter who you are, you have to eat. Um, and there's demand on places where people live. Habitation. I don't know in English, but so like apartment price they rise, houses price they rise because there's lots of people bidding on them, and when you sell, it happened to me, when I bought my first house, when I wanted to sell, there was a bidding war, like I I asked for like 36,000. No, not 36, 360,000, sorry. And we sold at 420. So just because there was a bidding war and my house wasn't so special.
Is the
And
bidding war like
the same house could go at 60 or 70. It's crazy.
um, the bidding war? Do you think it's because of like why is that? Why are we not building enough houses?
Well, there's production limits, like companies, they run and they produce lumber and they produce sheet rocks and they produce insulation, and there's a throughput. They cannot go faster than that, and if they want to go faster, they have to put shifts, and then they have to hire more people. But you know there's some job that don't require any skills, but some other jobs that do require skills, and then you need supervisors, and it can become quite a big mess in the manufacturing area if you don't have the proper people checking everything. So basically they have to ask themselves, okay, can we hire? No, we cannot. Okay, so we're not going to produce faster, so the price rise, like the price of everything rise. And then where was I? I'm sorry. I have two goldfish worth of attention, and I'm training a third one to try to deal with the interrupt, but I'm not there yet. It's because I had a burnout around the Romaine II project. It was way too much learning, and all my capacities they burned. But I can still manage. But so I got there was a sound behind me. I got interrupted. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm the same way. I can't remember anything anymore. I struggle to remember my name.
Oh, it's not that bad, I'm pretty sure.
Early onset
Anyway,
Alzheimer's.
we were answering what was the effect on construction for because of immigration, right? Okay, so there's the demand for all the materials, and then there's the demand for all the for the workforce, and it's the same thing. Well, I don't know if you were in Canada, but here in Quebec we have pretty strong unions, and they pretty much control the labor force for the construction, and you need certain diplomas, and there's like also a commission. It's provincially controlled with para governmental organization and stuff, and it's pretty complex. So if you want to build more, you need more workforce, but you need more study, and you need more people to be trained for that workforce. And basically, like, there's incentives to stay at home. En français, it's bien-être social. And that's it's basically, if you can't work, or you don't have any skill, or you're too sick and you have to long-term not work, then you receive a check every month to stay alive. Yeah, it's to stay alive. I know my mom was on that for like 6 months, and she hated it. Good thing she hated it. She studied, she became an assistant nurse, and she got out of that. That was when she separated, but that's a ways back. So this social net, like, it's a social net. Basically, it prevents people from going homeless. The social net is not helping with the labor shortage, and people that could work, they prefer to stay there. But some, they don't have any, they some can't, so they need it. So it's not something like it's not something federal, at the federal level. It's something at the provincial level. So PPC is not going to touch it. No worries.
So that was a pretty comprehensive answer for the impact.
Well, I'm trying, but there's the language barrier, and yeah, my English is not so good.
No, man. Your English is like 1,000 times better than my French. I told you all I know is hello, how are you?
Yes, I know.
I was at an event yesterday, and then this woman, she turns to me. She said, "Parlez-vous français?" And I said literally the only thing I know. I said "oui," and she thought I did. And she's like, "Oh, it's very good that you're fluent." I said, "Yes, ma'am."
Yeah, nice fluency.
I know the important words. Oui, no, un, deux, trois.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
So why don't we let's switch over to Mark Carney. I don't know. I could ask you a question, but why don't you just tell me, like, what do you think is going on with Carney and Pro Road and Trudeau stepping down?
Well, Carney, I mean, selection, because it's not an election, it's a selection, was scary. Sincerely, I was like everybody else, seeing it on TV. There was 12 candidates for the liberal leadership. Out of the 12, some of them were actually doing were putting up shadows on Mark Carney. I'm talking about Ruby Dalla. She had an idea similar to Maxime Bernier to bring back the Liberal Party back to where it was before. The Liberal Party used to be on the center left, and now they're almost far left. Good thing there's the green that prevents it, and the NPD, but because I don't know if they would go further. But at least to say, they disqualified 2/3 of the candidates, and Ruby Dalla was disqualified as well. And Ruby Dalla basically was like saying most of the lines of the PPC within this leadership race of the Liberal Party. So it tells us, PPCers, that our language as or platform, as reach within the Liberal Party, pretty much, because she was putting up shadows on Mark Carney. And because of that, they disqualified her. Like she was in the 2/3 of disqualified. They give like reasons. Like they can give reasons to disqualify almost everybody. They can scratch, and they can find that I have two offense driving, and I'm a very bad person because I drove downhill in the zone of 90 kilometers per hour at 120. And they want to disqualify me for that. They could. I don't know if it's so horrible. They could. I mean, maybe not for me, but they just have to ask. Anyway, so they disqualified her, and what was more egregious, they kept the money from the disqualified people because they had to gather 350,000 each. So it was pretty much a fundraiser. And they had 400,000 members that could vote. They disqualified 250,000 of those. They kept the money, by the way. And of those, then 150 about voted, and Carney got 85%. But that's like maybe like three-tenth of a percent of Canadians that had a vote to say. So like I don't feel it was completely honest, completely transparent. It'd be good for Election Canada to look into the process. Maybe everything is okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I highly doubt Election Canada is going to do anything.
So basically, we have Mark Carney is parading as the prime minister because somehow he is, because our constitution allow it. It's pretty funny because traditionally, because it's a tradition, it's not written. Traditionally, the prime minister is the leader of the party with the most member in parliament. So that's a tradition. And that tradition was upheld. And the tradition allows for ministers and prime ministers and anybody else that's named to do their job. They don't need to be elected. So the Constitution permits it, but should we continue that? Is it good for Canada? There's something to look there.
What do you think what impact is this going to have on Canada? Are we going to see constitutional reform? Are we going to see provinces cooperating less with Ottawa?
Well, if there was uproar, people could actually elected people could do something about it. But if there's no uproar or no one running on that on their platform, there won't be any legitimacy to work on it.
Yeah, you need the public support for these things, I suppose. Nicolas, one final question I wanted to touch on is, I guess it's related to Carney, but like this whole tariff thing, why do you think the United States imposed, I don't know if they even have yet, but they're threatening to impose tariffs on Canada?
Well, you can see 2, maybe 3 layers. There's like, from my military experience, you have the operational stuff, you have the tactical stuff, and you have the strategic stuff. So operationally, you could say that Trump is trying to get to get something from Canada and something like immediately, because operations is immediate. So it's the day to day. It's in the nitty gritty. You're in there. So they have a problem with fentanyl. They have a problem with immigration. So they want us to take care of a border, something that hasn't been taken care of for like 10, maybe more years, because it's always degrading. So there's that part, there's that part, like to do the operational stuff. Tactically, you could see, you can say that, in 2026, the NAFTA, well, the follower to NAFTA, I can't ever remember the name of this this thing. It always eludes me, but it's a free trade deal between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, and it has to be renewed in 2026. So it's posturing. They want to place themselves, and Trump wants, like, Trump is a businessman, so he wants a deal. So he is putting himself in a posture of strength, because that's in his book, The Art of the Deal. I haven't read it completely, but I've read some of it. And that's what he always does. He does a big boasting or something like, he wants to buy this property. It's at $3 million. He goes, he walks on the property, says it's crap, I don't like it. Oh no, this is broken. Okay, no. And then he makes an offer at like $250,000. And it's pretty sure this offer is going to be rejected. But he knows, because he wants to be in a posture of strength and put a unrealistic offer. So the other offer is going to place is going to look good and people will want it. So then he makes an offer at $1 million, gets the house at $1 million because he wanted to buy it cheap, and then he renovates it and sells it at 4, 5, 6 million. So that's how he became rich. So basically, he is doing the same thing, but at a much grander scale. So he wants a good deal, and he's looking at getting rid of the supply management, to say the least. Like that he has eyes on that, like specifically. He spoke about it quite often. And at the strategic level, well, we're in a global world. The American hegemony is going down, and Trump knows it. So he's trying to have a good place in there, where like there's going to be China, there's going to be Russia, there might be India. We don't know the future, but something is clear: the American hegemony is going away. So he's trying to have Canada not being the China's backyard or India's backyard, because you have like the liberals, they're like with the Chinese, and the conservative, they're with the Indians. And there's a big mess, in there, because there's like foreign interference and stuff, and they don't want to reveal anything. But there should be a way to reveal everything, to declassify things. But in Canada, it's not like in the United States. There's no straightforward way to do it.
So Nicolas, I'm blown away.
It'd be so easy, like, if like in the United States, Trump has the complete authority. He says, okay, I'm going to declassify JFK file. Okay, well, Prime Minister comes and says, okay, we're in Canada, says, I want to declassify this. Well, he can't. He doesn't have the power. He doesn't have. We're kind of stuck. Like, so we need some kind of power to declassify things in Canada, and there's no like in the United States, after sometimes it self unclassifies, but in Canada that doesn't exist, and that doesn't exist. So there's a reform to do in that area also, but to do that reform, the PPC is not it doesn't have anything on its platform about for this, and there's no will from the people to have something like that. So there's no legitimacy to change things, but it'd be nice. So like
Nicola,
I know it took us a little over, but I think that's a portrait of what Trump is trying to do. That's my humble opinion. I cannot say I know for sure, because nobody knows. It's speculation most of the time.
it's a very
Oh, I don't hear you.
I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Is it my sound?
I'm not muted on my end. Testing. Testing.
Audio. Yeah, it's my sound.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Testing.
Hello.
Testing.
Okay, good. It's
You got
back.
me?
No, I don't hear. No, sorry. I hear the sound on my computer, but not yours. I didn't hear my sound on my computers before, so.
Can you hear me now?
No, I don't.
Karen says she can hear both of us.
maybe we stop the interview or something, because I don't hear you anymore.
Yeah,
Or
but can you give your contact details? What's your contact details?
Okay, well they hear us both, but it doesn't.
What's your
translate.
number? Give us your your contact details. Contact details.
Oh, I see your phone number.
Right, but what's yours? Your email.
Oh, yes, of course, we can continue chatting. No problem.
How do I do this? Let me. Do I have a pen?
So, well, thank you very much for the opportunity. It was real good to have a discussion with you. I know I did most of the speaking, but oh, I can be contacted. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. For my constituents, they can phone me 450-272 8315, 450-272-8315, or they can reach me at Nicolas.Guérin at teamppc.ca. Or they can go on to they can go on to X. To my handle is right here, and they can send me a chat over there.
Okay. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Take care.